Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tank Observers podcast. My name is Jackson McCarty, as always joined by my co-host Chris Barr. And Chris, what are we doing today?
We're doing superlatives again. This is the fourth time.
It's a running theme. It's almost like it's a series at this point.
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know what will give you that idea. But...
I know. Yeah, it's kind of a shot in the dark that I'm taking. We're gonna see if it sticks, but I do have something I want to tell the viewers at home before we get into this. Once we do tight ends, which is what we're doing today, and then offensive linemen, which will be the next episode, we're going to take a bit of a breather in between offense and defense, and we're going to bring you guys a mock draft. It's the first one I think that we've done in this cycle.
We haven't done a 2021. Not on here, at least.
Yeah, so it'll be the first mock draft of 2021 for us, and we can't wait to bring it to you. But for now, we're going to go ahead and write it out with the tight ends, kicking off with the prom king, Kyle Pitts.
He won the John Mackey Award.
He did.
He literally won the award they give to the best tight end. There's no getting around it. He's the dude. He's at the top of the palace. Everyone's jealous. He gets the hot girl. And he's the prom king. It's just how it is,
Yeah, he disposed.
He won the award.
He disposed of that Pat Freiermuth, who's better debate pretty quick. He said, "You know what? Not only am I a better tight end, I'm the only tight end at this point that is a guaranteed first round pick. No matter how much I love Pat, I can't say with 100% certainty that he will be going in the first round. Kyle Pitts, I don't even know that he's making it out of the top 10."
It depends. He's the best tight end in this draft class, and he might as well be a number one receiver. He's I don't want to say Travis Kelce, but he's that level of target at the tight end position. I'm not gonna call him Travis Kelce. He's not at the George Kittle Kelce level.
I'd say he plays closer to Waller.
Oh well, yes, he plays a lot closer to Waller because he might as well be a receiver, and that's what Waller was drafted as for whatever ungodly reason that 6'6" man decided to do that. Easily could have ended up like DeAndre Smelter.
Maybe that's what TJ Vasher will do out of the wide receiver class this year. He's 6'6", like 240.
He's not a receiver.
No.
So
he's a borderline offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But regardless, Pat might be my favorite at least. I'm not going to speak for Topher.
No, I'm a huge Pitts guy. I've been a Pitts guy.
Fair. But Pitts made it very hard, nearly impossible, to question who the best tight end in this class is. So hold your crown high, King, and we'll see you on draft night. But for Pat Freiermuth, Topher, what do we give him?
Well, most well-rounded. He's not bad. I know I just said that I like Pitts better. That doesn't mean he's bad by any means. He's a great tight end. He's baby Gronk. He's a big boy.
I think like 8 or 9 tight ends have the nickname Baby Gronk a year in the college football level.
Yeah, but he's earned it. He throws people to the ground with stiff arms. He's a big, strong dude. He can block. He can line up as your 6th lineman. He's the dude. He's a tank of a human being. I want him to get drafted 42nd overall because that's where Gronk got picked.
You just wanted to line up.
Like that'd be sick. I mean, we saw the same thing happen when Danny Etling got drafted with the same pick to the Patriots.
They were really just hoping
they were like,
twice,
hey, this could be funny. And they drafted Danny Etling, and then he ended up lining up as a receiver most of the time because they thought maybe they could turn him into a slot receiver. I don't know what the Patriots were thinking. They were going through a rough patch. Brady was about to leave.
He was.
So Danny Etling was playing receiver. They were trying everything.
Yeah, they did a weird little ordeal in there, but there truly is nothing Pat Freiermuth can't do. Like you said, he can be your 6th blocker. He can go out there and he can catch the first down. He can get you some rack yards. He can get you whatever you need. But he's so versatile and he's such a Swiss Army knife that whoever ends up drafting him, he might bring a bit more value on day one than Pitts because of all these different facets that he can help out in. Fair?
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Pitts' value fell and Freiermuth wound up jumping him. But that's the only way. It wouldn't be Freiermuth moving up in the draft. It would be Pitts falling. I don't know why it would happen. but it would be interesting to see because of the value of a multifaceted tight end.
Yeah.
We see Zach Ertz fading out because he can't block.
Yes. You have to be very balanced in everything that you want to do as a tight end now.
Ertz was challenging Travis Kelce for a while for that number one tight end spot. He is now being phased out for Goddard because Goddard's a better blocker.
Yeah, because Goddard offers more in other areas. He might not be a better receiver than Ertz.
He isn't at all. But they can pretend all they want.
On to the next tight end. We've got Brevin Jordan, who me and Topher have decided to call the biggest enigma. Topher, go ahead and tell me a little bit why.
He's just a worse version of Kyle Pitts. That's all he is. He's short. He's like quick, maybe a little bit. He's like this gross mixture of Julius Thomas and Jordan Reed. Okay. And I'm not saying Jordan Reed's bad, but he's a little bit of a flash in the pan because of his injuries. And then you have Julius Thomas, who had one good season, then got a fat contract from the Jaguars for absolutely no reason.
Just kind of hung out for a couple years.
He can't block. I don't get where the hype's coming from because his hands are like okay. Yeah, he's actually pretty drop prone. He's like I don't know, bad. That's all I got. He's bad at football.
I'm not going to be as critical as you are on Brevin Jordan, but he is certainly a mixed bag.
He deserves it.
He's certainly a mixed bag. It's
like the fifth tight end in this draft class, but we're forced to talk about him because other teams are like, he's kind of cool.
Hunter Long and Tommy Tremble don't.
We're gonna be missing Kyle Pitts, so maybe we can take Brevin Jordan and force the ball to him until he decides to be good at football.
Until he puts his athletic package together.
Yes.
Which, speaking of his athletic package, is why his stock is so high. He is a very talented athlete. I don't want to say player yet because he has a fifth rounder's stat line.
You know who else is a talented athlete? Darren Waller. He got drafted in the 6th round, and he's going to be way better than Brevin Jordan ever will be.
Potentially. You got to be careful on that one. But,
oh man,
dude, for example,
if you're allowed to call Justin Herbert trash last year, I'm allowed to call Brevin Jordan trash. I'll take all the hits if he ends up being good. But right now,
you know what? I'll let you do that one. But Brevin didn't even accomplish more than 1,400 receiving yards in his collegiate career, which went over 27 games. He is so athletic, though, that teams are willing to overlook that and kind of put him in that big three. And I don't think he's a first rounder anymore. I don't think he should have ever been considered a first rounder. But if he lands in the right spot, like let's say Carolina goes quarterback round 1, and whenever they come back in the 2nd, Brevin is still there. I think that'd be perfect.
He's just so not a Greg Olsen, though.
He's not a Greg Olsen.
He's 6'3", he's 6'3" and 240.
Right, but it's Matt Rule's offense. It's not Ron's offense. It's a new, fresher Joe Brady ran.
I forget that because it's still like they're still trying to pretend that Ian Thomas is a viable option. So it's
exactly. So Brevin in the 2nd.
It's forgettable to realize that they're not really forcing the ball to the tight as much.
This argument is proof of why he's the biggest enigma. You can't pinpoint who he is as a player. It's so difficult because there's
now. You know what? He is Ian Thomas.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Yeah.
1 week he will look like, oh, okay, so this guy is a legit big 3 guy. And then the next it's like, oh, well, you're going to develop him for 3 years before you ever figure out where that ceiling actually is. So he very well embodies the definition of enigma, and he's earned his role. But now we move on to Topher and Jackson's picks. I've been doing mine first a lot here lately. I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce us to one Mr. Jeremy Ruckert.
All right, so Jeremy Ruckert is the most overlooked, and I have plenty of reasons why. He's just super average. But here's the thing. Brevin Jordan's below average. So
back to Brevin. Well,
it's easy to bring it back to Brevin because he's probably worse than both of our tight ends. I don't know whose yours is. I've never heard of the guy before. You'll hear about him later, though. But Jeremy Ruckert is simply better than Brevin Jordan. He can block better. He has better hands. He's not as athletic because he's just a generally average player. He's not super fast or athletic. He's not amazing at blocking, but he has solid hands and he can find the end zone really well. Yes. Justin Fields probably made him look a little bit better than he is, during that playoff run because he caught a few touchdowns on that in those college football playoffs. And
Right.
he just looked like this big red zone threat. But he has a lot more that he can bring to the game.
Okay.
And just because he's such an average tight end and he's out of Ohio State, he's getting overshadowed by Justin Fields and Master Teague and the 4 other running backs that they have there that are going to go in the top 5 rounds.
Just the assimilation of talent
Yes.
that they have.
Trey Sermon, Master Teague, and the third guy. But yeah, he's a perfect Patriots prospect too, because they love taking overlooked, handsome white guys and turning them into Pro Bowlers for like 2 seasons at a time.
Billy B has made quite a career out of doing just that.
Yes.
Hey, he created a whole Patriot way off the back of that.
He did. You got Edelman, Hogan, and Brady.
Brady, Gronk.
They had another dude. 1 year Gronk got hurt. They had another dude, and we're like, where are they just pulling all of these tight ends from? I forgot his name though.
Yeah, I can't remember who you're talking about.
It was so funny though, because he became this like fantasy football phenomenon, and I can't remember his name, but it's gonna be Jeremy Ruckert next. I feel it coming.
Yeah, no, I like Ruckert a whole lot. I don't know where to project him yet. It feels like probably the third.
Probably the third, fourth.
Yeah,
around there.
Because the tight end class is such an oddball, just as a whole.
You never know where tight ends are going to end up because they're not this high priority thing. Because if you get a Kelsey, you don't know that you have a Kelsey until about 2 years later.
Yeah.
You get an Ertz, Kyle Rudolph. All these guys are 2nd-round picks. You're rarely going to find a 1st-round tight end that just
like
jumps off the page.
And
Ebron.
Even when you
sucked.
do. Yeah, even when you do, Ebron. Hawkinson's kind of there right now. I think he's getting better, but Fant has been pretty all right. But, it's not enough to really justify going for tight end in the 1st round for me.
Crazy enough, I actually did a 2014 redraft, and Ebron stayed in the 1st round because I sent him to the Patriots because I'm like, if anyone's going to know what to do with this guy, they can run him out of the slot. He's athletic enough. But I felt really bad about it because he was just so below average. I didn't know what to do with myself.
You just kind of had to, fine.
Let's be honest. Devonta Freeman was the Lions' 10th overall pick in that one, so I'm not really sure if that was my best work.
A shaky redraft nonetheless. But let me introduce you to my candidate, the one that I wanted to put up this time. We have one Mr. Tony Polian from Virginia.
That is quite a name.
Yeah, it's interesting looking. Poljan. But I have him listed as the most likely to glow up, and let me tell you a little bit why. So it's no secret that over our time doing Tank Observers that I love a guy who switched between positions and is now succeeding in said position. Well, go figure. Tony Polian is a former quarterback who has switched to tight end, and you know what? Looks like a pretty decent receiver. I'm very okay with the level of potential he showed thus far. And he needs to figure out how to block a little bit better, like you're talking about. Ertz got phased out because
couldn't hack it.
Yeah, he couldn't keep it at 10-2. But if Polian can work on that a little bit, land somewhere in the 5th round or so, try to find them where they'll sit him down, work with him, put him behind maybe an aging tight end like Jared Cook, which they have Trotman, so kind of a breach of interest. But regardless, he has a long way to go. But if anybody is most likely to glow up in this draft class, just turn into a much better player than we initially thought, I've got Polian for that one.
I don't blame you. Lower. It's just like when they have a lower ceiling or a lower if teams don't look at players as higher value,
yes,
it's easier for them to just come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's why late round receivers, even if they have 600-yard rookie seasons, they're like massive amounts of potential because no one knew the guy's name.
No,
look at Travis Fulgham. He immediately became just this fantasy football sensation.
Scotty
because
Miller.
No one knew who he was.
Yeah, Scotty Miller came out of the woodwork before Antonio Brown was like, "Hey, by the way, I'm good at football too.
I can still play.
Yeah,
Can I come back? I'll live with Tom."
Play he did, and he's been absolutely balling. But that concludes our tight ends in a shorter episode because the tight end class isn't quite as loaded. But we'll bring that length back out whenever the offensive linemen come out because there's just a whole slew of guys that are worthy of being talked about. For now, I'm Jackson McCartan.
And I still can't find the backup Patriots tight end. And I'll get back to him.
We'll see you guys next time.
Please show me